Hi guys, in today's video I want to show you one of the new molds. So I've done 4 in total, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the wavy hair, and you can do a few different styles with it. This is a new mold. This is what it looks like in the box. So it comes with a few different pieces on there. So you can see there's a bigger bit on the right hand side, and then there's all smaller individual pieces in there as well. So there are some instructions on the back as well as a QR code which just takes you to this video. They are available to purchase on my website as well. You want to use modelling paste ideally, and you need to have like a head ready to put your hair on, obviously. I've made a bust and head using my new large female figure mould and the Abby face mould that I used to have. I'll put links below to the mould so you can find them as well. Now you just want to add a bit of corn flour to your mould to stop the hair from sticking. Now you can do it without corn flour, it just stops it sticking quite as much. So if you try without the corn flour, you just will find it a little bit harder. So you can use a brush to dust it in, try and get out any excess. One of the pieces, this one here, is supposed to be like a fringe piece. It's quite deep. Tap the mould upside down to just get rid of excess corn flour as well. So you're going to fill the largest piece of the hair mould, pressing it in at the back. If you've got any extra, you can trim it off with a knife. Just be careful, guys, if you are trimming with the knife that you don't cut into the mould itself. And press firmly as well, guys, when you put the paste in there. Oh, and the reason I haven't used fondant is just because it's very soft, so it makes it a little bit harder to get out of the mould. You might have to find you shape the paste a little bit to the bit of hair that you put it into, if that makes sense. It will just help you get it in a little bit better. You can use like a little rubber-ended tool if you want to force it into those little pointy ends of the hair if you find that your fingers are struggling. And you can just fill each of the cavities in the mould. You don't have to use all of them as well. It depends what kind of style of wavy hair you're going for as to how many of these cavities you want to use. They are all different in size. And in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different styles. So to get them out of the mould, just turn the mould upside down and you can bend it slightly, and most of them should pop out pretty easily. The deep one actually did come out easily that time. Sometimes that one can be a bit trickier to get out of the mould. So this is what they look like when they come out of the mould. Okay, so these are the different pieces. Let's have a think about what style we want to do. Now when sticking them on, you can either add water or edible glue, and it's up to you whether you prefer to put it on the back of the piece of hair or whether you prefer to put the water or glue on the head itself and then stick this on. Either way is fine. Just be careful when you are pressing on, because you do need to apply some pressure for it to stick, but then if you apply too much pressure, you're going to push out all the lines that are in the hair. Also, guys, when you are adding hair to a head, just make sure your head is set firmly onto the neck and body, because if not, you will find that hair sometimes can cause the neck to sink down a little bit. If you have got rid of any of those lines when you pressed on with your fingers, just with a Dresden tool or a pointy-ended little tool, you can just put those lines back in there. I'm just using a metal Cerat Dresden tool here. Okay, so we've put the big one on at the back of the head, so that's going to cover the most amount of space. And then we're going to go for some smaller ones here at the side. So I'm starting at the side. I haven't given her ears, so I'm going to make sure I cover up that ear area. So I've tucked one that kind of comes down from under a chin over a shoulder, and then let's put another one just over the top of that. But you still see that first one, can you see poking out over a shoulder? So the first one was thinner, the second one on the side is a little bit thicker. Then we've got that big, short but chunky piece, which is going to go on as the fringe. Just press it on, using the Dresden tool really to kind of push on there, because you can add extra lines and at the same time apply pressure to make sure that hair is stuck in place. So this one, guys, is also just using the same mould. I realised I didn't show you this one on camera. It's using this size pieces on the side and then just some of the smaller ones as we get closer to the front of the head. And again, it's still got that fringe piece on that I've just added. You will have to bend the paste around a little bit to get it in the hair pieces on this one for the mould. You know, you might want to move it around still even when it comes out of the mould. You might want to pull the waves looser or push them together a bit tighter. So I'm going to go for another small one down the far side of the head again. Tucked over that other shoulder like so. And let's go for this size piece. Put a little bit of water on the back of there. And let's press that onto the top. So it's a slightly larger piece again down that side, going kind of over the top of that last one that we've put on, covering kind of the side of her head. I'm going to use the same size piece again. I think it's the same size one, but you can trim it down as well, so you don't have to use them to full size. So if you want them a little bit shorter, you can cut a bit off the top or the bottom. Let's just add that into the sort of front, and then let's add another little piece here, another small piece, just putting those lines back in. And I'm bringing that one so it kind of comes partly onto her forehead a little bit, like so. Okay, so you see, even though it's the same mold, they do look a little bit different, so you can play around with the styles. So there's those two, nice and easy ones, and let's have a go with another one. Also guys, you can dust the corn flour off with a clean brush as well afterwards. I forgot I left the corn flour on there. So we'll start with the large bit of the mold again. Popping it out, it should come out fairly easily. If not, there might not be enough corn flour, or you might have to just let your modelling paste firm up for another 5 minutes before removing it out of the mold. And that's what it should look like when it comes out. You might even want to use more than one large piece on a head. So if you want to fill the head space quicker, you could use 2 large pieces rather than 1 large piece and then lots of smaller pieces. So let's stick one of these on, but on each side of the head this time. So that's what it looks like if we use 2 larger pieces. Just make sure they're pulled up nice and tight together at the top. So I think I'm going to wrap her hair around. So I'm going to put a little indentation in kind of at each side, about ear area. So I'm just nipping it in there. And then can you see we've made 2 pieces from the mould? They're a little bit thinner. I'm going to start these up at the top of the forehead in the middle. And we're going to take them around the side, kind of put them through that dip that I've just made. And we'll take them through to the middle at the back. And then I'll do exactly the same on the other side with the other piece of hair. You can twist it as well if you want, guys. Have a bit of a play around with them. I'd love to see what different styles you guys come up with using these molds. So if you do have a play around with them, be sure to tag me in your social media so that I can see what it is you've been making with them. There we go. So we're just going to get them to meet at the back there. Okay, so there's another one. Let's do one more. So this next one, I'm going to see what it looks like if I use a few of this size piece. This is the end one, but not the largest piece. Next size down. And I think I'd like it draping over one shoulder. So let's put one piece over that side. Have it coming over a shoulder. Let's put the other piece on the opposite side of her head. But instead of bringing it over her other shoulder, what we'll do is we'll try and bring it around the back of her head towards the other shoulder. So the same shoulder that the other piece of hair is on, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to take the same piece of hair again. I've kind of folded it over at the end and then I've trimmed a little bit off. And this is going to be like a front piece of hair that's going to stick onto like a forehead. So I'm going to stick it on where I've cut it here, like so. And then we're going to fold it over so that this big curvy bit or wavy bit kind of comes almost over one eyebrow. And then what we're going to do is we need to fill in this little back area that's still bald. So I'm just using the same size pieces of hair, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pinch them to more of a point at the top if I need to, or trim some bits off the bottom if they're a little bit too long. And they're all kind of starting up at the top of the head and kind of connecting down to where those first 2 pieces of hair ended on her shoulder. So we've just got a bit of a gap there. I'm just going to add just a thin bit of hair that's actually not from the mould. I've literally just taken a piece out of the mould and we're just going to push that on there like so. Just because I think my piece of hair is not going to quite fill that. You can put some lines in if you've just stuck a random piece on like I have done. Okay, and then let's use that last piece of hair. We're going to push that into the gap and around to meet with the others like so. So there she is. There's the last one that I've made for this video, guys. I hope this video helps you for ideas for what you can do with the wavy hair mold. And don't forget, I do have some other molds, hair molds available as well, which I'll be making videos for. Tag me in your creations with the hairstyles as I'd love to see them. Thanks for watching, guys, and I have got the plaits and braids hair mold coming soon, which is this one with the purple hair. So you can make more styles than that purple hair one. I just need to make the video still for you guys. And then we've got like a curly hair, which is kind of more a tighter wave, and then we've got a straight hair one as well. So be sure to check all those out. The molds are now available on my website at Zoes Fancy Cakes, and I'll put links to these in the description box below the video. Thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.